this is Kyle Crawford from Strong Dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Crimer Beer House for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. The beer house was started in 1982 by the Crimer family. Since that time, they have become a Cincinnati favorite. If you're looking for an incredible meal and an incredible setting, you have to try Crimer's Beer House down on Route 128 in Cleves, Ohio.
Welcome to Strong Dads. Hey, this is Merle Hutchinson and the one and only golf beat and golf fatigue.
Oh, I am.
Yes.
A little sunburn over here.
I know.
My lips got real bad. That was the worst part.
You didn't put lipstick on. Why didn't you wear your lipstick?
If I'd have put lipstick,
wear your
that would have
lipstick.
helped. Yes. So, yes, I went on a golf trip, played 4 days. We just blitzed golf for 4 days.
Awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah. So this is Kyle Crawford.
Yes.
Right?
Kyle Crawford.
Yeah, that's who you are. Yeah. So, man, you told us you were going to go on a little golf outing. So you came back. You got a little golf in. How'd you shoot? Like, give me the real. I don't want this like. Oh well, I did pretty good. Except give me the real deal.
We did 2 days of scramble. So we did pretty well there, and then 2 days your own ball.
And that's where you just really stunk.
No. Come on, Merle. Back up off me.
That's right. I need to give you some credit.
I shot a 78, okay?
Wow.
I shot a 78. I was
nice.
78 and 82. There you go.
Yeah,
so now
there you go. And that's
there
not bragging because I was the one that kind of sucked it right out of you.
You did.
Right. Good deal.
How you doing today anyways? Now you're done razzing me a little bit.
I'm doing pretty good, man. Good. It's a good summer day. The kids, at least from where we are, the kids are 1 week away from going back to school.
Wow.
And, I don't know if you've seen it, but there's a video going around on Facebook where this mom, she pulls up to the front schoolyard, and all of a sudden you see 2 or 3 kids come flying like she's throwing them out of the back of her car, and then all of a sudden she guns it, and the car is squealing out. You're going to school.
Get out of the car. You're out of the house.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's
awesome.
kind of where, and I'd have to tell you, I don't think we'd have to throw our kids out of the car.
Yeah,
they're ready to be out of the car.
Yeah.
So it's good. They're looking forward to it. They're tired of just being stuck inside, and all kids kind of come into this summer boredom, but our summer started March 15th or something.
That's very true.
So they're just ready to see friends and get active. So anyway, we're doing pretty good.
Good.
We better get into the real crux of the biscuit here, okay? Today we have a great show. We are excited because we have a special guest in the house. This gentleman comes to us with the idea that we're going to talk about strong dads and families, but these are also some other things that we're going to bring into the conversation. And this conversation, we want to be very mindful of just the message that we get out there today. And we're going to be talking about some of the racial tensions and issues that are in our local community and how we deal with those as dads. And so our guest today is from the Northern Kentucky area, went to Boone County High School. He was a standout in both academics and athletics, and that opened the door for him to attend his college years at the University of Notre Dame. He's now a husband, father, and vice president of client engagement at Centennial Talent Strategy and Executive Search. Above all, he's a follower of Christ. We would like to welcome Durran Alexander to the Strong Dads podcast. Durran, how you doing, brother?
Doing well. Thanks,
Good.
Bro. Thanks
We got another Notre Dame guy here.
I know.
2 shows ago, we had Rocky on here.
That's right. Go Irish.
Right.
We are indeed in the house, baby. So we're in the house.
I love it.
That's right.
That's good stuff. So, we're looking forward to our conversation. Yeah. Durran, you and I have met a couple of times, had some conversation. Let's get the elephant in the room. Yeah. I'm a white man and you're a black man, and Kyle, you're a white man, right?
I'm beyond white.
Well, you're sunburned. I'm
sunburned.
Yeah. Sunburned.
Yeah. And so I think
Hilarious.
the cool thing about our conversation is that we're going to have that. We're going to have conversation.
Yeah.
We're going to have conversation, and we're all brothers, and we're broken men, and we learn to laugh about it. We're trying to do what we can with the gifts that we have to glorify God and to raise our kids. And man, we ain't perfect, right?
No.
So so we're gonna have some good conversation, but hopefully some thoughtful conversation and some challenging. We always have a challenge in our Strong Dads podcast to say, hey, you know what? If you listen to this podcast and then you just turned it off and you didn't give it another thought, then we kind of messed up that day.
That's right.
We want you to turn that off and go, what should I do with this? And so we try to put a little challenge at the end of our shows of what am I going to do to be better than I was yesterday.
Yeah.
So, Kyle, how about let's jump into a couple of our sponsors?
Yeah, we got to do our sponsor. We got to make sure
That's
we
right.
give them some
We got to love them, man.
That's right. So, yeah, definitely at today's Strong Dads podcast, we definitely would like to thank Crimer's Beer House for coming alongside of us. The Beer House was started in 1982 by the Crimer family, and since that time, they've definitely become a Cincinnati favorite. So, if you're looking for an incredible meal in an incredible setting, definitely go down on Route 128 and check out the Crimer's Beer House.
All right, very good. I want to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency located in Bright, Indiana, for being one of our Strong Dad sponsors. They were established in 1981. The Mansfield Insurance Agency has been dedicated to the individuals and businesses in Bright, Indiana, but serving clients in Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. So for all your insurance needs, contact Mansfield Insurance Agency. All right, so Durran, welcome to the Strong Dads podcast. And so to get started, let's just get the other elephant out of the room. I wanted to check with you before I went there. You are the brother of Shawn Alexander. And so I asked you, are you tired of being Shawn's brother? Can't you just be Durran for a while?
I tell you what, no, definitely. I appreciate it, even bringing it up. So for everybody out there knows, Shawn is 1 year younger, and I constantly let him know that. I'm much,
I can see the wisdom just
you could. That's right.
That's
right. I'm much better looking than he is. I tell him now that he's actually no longer built for football. He's just heavy set now.
Big bone.
That's right.
Big bone.
Big bone.
I tell you what's fun. The other fun part of hanging out with him, and I was telling you guys before about some of the cool things that we've got to do. But so many people though that they see me and they always ask though, did I play or do I play now? And of course, I just take the time just to look at him and be like, that's right. You see that they see the size, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And they think that I played professional football. Actually, since you guys are here, you know that I did not. I'm definitely built to play the drums and play in the band, which we'll discuss later. That's who he is, and he and I have a great relationship, and part of another discussion, he lives over in the D.C. Virginia area now, and he has continued his family. I stopped at 2, and he has 10 children.
Holy smokers.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Now,
and I think he's got some adopted children too.
These
are all 10 biological.
This is 10 biological, and as we continue to go in this discussion, that is him and his one wife.
Good for him.
So she came from a big family herself, of 6 or 8. And they'd always said that, like, hey, we'll just keep going, kind of like as the Lord blessed them and provided, and they do like the home births, and they've been able to be. She's handled all the pregnancies well.
Wow.
So,
That's crazy.
Absolutely insane.
Well, I'm excited just thinking about it.
Insane, right?
Yeah. Well, you come through being an NFL football player, and people always think, you're probably kind of arrogant and full of yourself. After 10 kids, there's no way you can be arrogant.
No way.
You're eating humble pie every day.
Not a chance.
That's awesome.
Good for that.
You've wiped 1 or 2 butts before. It kind of brings you down, that level down there.
Absolutely.
So the question I have to ask, because I grew up with 2 other brothers, and we were always competitive. And they were just ornery. Okay, and they're 3 years younger than me, but they're identical twins.
Oh, come on.
And we used to just beat the snot out of each other. But it was always those 2 against me, And I thank God every day for me being 3 years older than them, because I could take them up and through about the high school years. And then all of a sudden, it was 2 young men against 1 young man, and I got smoked a few times.
That's right.
And I was like, you know what, guys, how about we just go play croquet or something like that? How about
we're on the same team.
Come on. You're the same team. So...
Could
you ever whip Shawn?
Oh yeah. So I tell you what, it was not until, let's see, because he and I wound up just being this is back when kids played outside more, right? So we did. So he and I used to just be teammates for everything, 2-on-2, whether it be basketball or even for baseball, and So we did a lot of work together back then, and then it wasn't until he started really working out a lot, you know what I mean? Like, and he was never like a diehard workout, but just like between there and then like to Alabama, like when he was down there, I mean, like, and he would come back and it was just like just running simple whatever he had us run, like 200 yards, you know what I mean, or 100 yards, and it was like like when he really got serious about doing that, and it was like, well come on, we'll just race, you know, because let's see what this looks like. And I'm like, man, I just remember we were on Boone County's track, and we were running the 200, and he was on the inside lane, and I'm for real running as hard as I'm like, this dude, I don't care if you play, you know what I mean? This is what
I'm still big brother.
And when he hit the turn and came around, and he was like, come on, bro. And I was like, I mean, you know how you just and the cramp hits you, you take your shoe off, you throw it at him, you're like, we ain't gonna run anymore. So it was during that time that it just realized that that he and I said, you know what, that's fine. You know, you can have that now. You know what I mean? Just go. I'm gonna give that to you.
Well, you earned it. I'll give it to you.
I guess you work out a little bit.
Good
stuff.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Gotta love that. Mm-hmm. So, Durran, tell us a little bit about just your upbringing and just your family, and just give us a little history there.
So we grew up. My mother is originally from Covington. And she grew up there with her 6 sisters and a brother down there, and then moved us out to Florence, Kentucky. Out of when I was about 2 years old, she didn't want us to grow up. My grandmother and the house that they were in was very close to the original projects down there, and she did not want us to grow up in there. So she moved us from, if you could imagine, predominantly black to just not that.
You were out in corn. I mean, back then, Florence had a lot of corn.
So you have to think. That's about late 70s. Late 70s. Being moved out there, and it was only 2 high schools at the time. So it was Boone County and Connor, and it's cornfields. It was nothing out there, and just grew up with us, and then probably my dad was in and out, and probably around age 9 or so was when they officially, separated, and he was not in the house, and pretty much, I'm sure part of another time, like, mom just put him out. So so remember that time, and then it was just us. It was just us, just me, him, and my brother.
So your mom was instrumental in the thought process of saying, I want to move you out of this neighborhood and into a different, what she would have thought would be a better neighborhood.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so my mom, a long time worker at Procter & Gamble. So she worked downtown. So even for her, if you can imagine being in Covington and then deciding to move, south in that sense. But just knew that it was better for us, just in what she wanted us to come up in, and what was going to be, our life going forward. And so she was willing to make the longer drive, and still commit to work, even though she knew that that's where we needed to be.
So even after your mom and dad split, what type of role did your dad play in your upbringing?
Yeah, it's funny because like he came around, like the only connection that he really had was sports. Okay. So he did come around for in the beginning, at least, like, getting us to practice maybe sometimes, or showing up at a game. And then just as we went through the middle school and then in the high school, it just became, unfortunately, less and less until bro, start popping up on the news and everything. And then, then he was even more so at the games there. But a lot of that key instrumental time there where you're like, trying to figure it out as a young boy, young man, your voice is all over the place, and you're trying to figure out that girl and what that looks like and all that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, so he wasn't there for that. So that was really mom trying to step up as best as she could to just guide us through that. Got us through that. So, and I was telling you guys earlier, so my son, with my daughter being 14 and my son being 13, just recognizing how key that time is, just to be able to talk to him about it. Cause like when, we all joke and being older about having the talk. But then when you really get there, and you've got, you're seeing how they're interacting with their friends, and especially like, with my son, and you're like, no, we need to sit down and discuss this. So it was, in hindsight, you see how much work that mom put in to trying to raise 2 young men, and as we discuss it too, like just 2 young black men in this area. It was just just hats off to her for what she tried to fill us with, and just make sure that we made some right decisions.
Now, was that a conscious decision on your part? As you and your wife just started to have kids. Obviously, you saw something a little bit different. You growing up and your upbringing. Yeah. Like, what were your decisions? Like, I'm in this. Like, I'm in this. For a long haul.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So part for me was just knowing my just the upbringing, So part of it just mom saying like, this is the kind of man that you need to be, and kind of a reverse with my dad, like just seeing like everything that he was and going like, okay, that is not how I'm going to be.
Sure.
And Meryl, I know we talked before that like, many times when you get faced with a particular, your stimulus or your upbringing or whatever, and it's right or wrong, you have to make a choice, and you have the opportunity to either say like, okay, this is all I know, so I'm just going to be like that. And some people that's good and bad. They go, well, I didn't have a dad, so I'm not going to be around. I'm going to go out and do this. Or you can go like, no, that's not the right way to be. You know what I mean? And like, so a lot of it was just saying, you know what, like that is, I know how I felt. And then as you share experiences with your other friends that either don't have dads or they do, and you kind of see what that looks like also. And I was fortunate enough to have a couple, dads, some coaches and some not, that were willing to pour in, and just kind of keep me underneath their wing, as well. And you go, no, this is how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, so, So my wife and I, a part of even us just even growing up in this area, she originally grew up in Orlando, Florida. Okay. And so it's a huge melting pot of people there. And with me growing up here, but knowing so many people, and I truly was blessed though with being in the minority by a lot, but the people that were around me that were just like, you know what, man, we're just going, we're going to love you just for who you are, truly getting back to the character. And if you're funny, you're funny. And if you're not, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. So, I know we'll get into it later, but like, sometimes, you do get blessed that, not every black guy is an angry black guy. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you do get blessed with some great situations, and you go like, man, like the people that were around me, we went through all the same struggles the same. So, you know what I mean? As, you know what I mean? Like, so mine twisted a little bit, but I still had some guys like, they couldn't talk to girls, and they were all like, what to say, and then, so you go through it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, man, I just think you bring up such a huge point. One of the big things that we stress all the time here on Strong Dads is basically that idea of owning it. Of just like, hey, like we said at the top of the show, the idea of, man, we're all full of mistakes. We've all messed up, and it's that pride and that ego that kind of keeps us stuck. Oh yeah. And it gets us, well, this is the only way I know. This is what I'm going to do. This is, and it's that humbleness that says, well, what's a better way? Yeah. What's the right way? And I really take my hat off to your mom, because you saw what your dad was doing, but it had to be you seeing what your mom was doing that kept that kept it straight. Because your mom could have thrown her hands up and said, everything's just kind of going to crap. But right. She was like, no, we're not going to do that. Oh, yeah. This is what we're going to do. And the idea that she had that kind of strength and integrity in her. Oh, yeah. I have a feeling that if you'd stepped out of line, she'd probably pulled you up by the back of the neck. I tell you, I don't know your mom, but I have this feeling.
Man, I tell you what, like we grew up so single parent home, 2-bedroom apartment, just in Florence. So we definitely, it's like we didn't know what we didn't have until we got of the ages of where you did like spend the night stuff, right? And you do that. We just didn't think of it like that. Our apartment complex had a swimming pool, right up the way. So you're like that. So like the thought of having people with their own house and their own room and pool in the backyard, like that was like completely foreign to us. And also you stay in the front, you're like, wow, this is
you must be rich.
Yeah, this is crazy. But for her, kind of to the point, like she just loved us just the same, and we just, like that was our home, and that's how we viewed it. So she didn't throw up any kind of sense of like, you can't be this and we don't have this, and like that negative mentality of like
victim card. We talk about it all the time.
Especially when when we weren't limited, so to say, like, and that makes it tough, and we see it throughout many different aspects of society. Like there are certain things that like that you have been wronged and you do need to call it out, and there has to be accountability for it. But there's many times that you're not. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, you know, when it's not, then let's keep moving forward. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we didn't want to just dwell on that he wasn't there. We're like, well, this is what we have. This is the family that we have. And you know, like many people when we go through the story of like what's it like growing up with my brother, I'm like, well, you know what, like. His bed was right next to mine, like you know what I mean. Like,
and man, his feet stink.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's a goofball. You know what I mean? Like, so we grew up like that, as opposed to you know what I mean, like leaning on like, well, he had his room and he always wanted to be this, or we thought that like. I mean, really, like she drilled in us from the beginning. Like, this is where we're at, and you two are going to college. Yeah, like that's really like the biggest thing. Like neither one of us grew up and said that we would be a professional athlete or that we were gonna go, you know, even to Notre Dame or anything like that. It was just like you're just gonna go to college. Yeah. So like everything that we did was a part of that goal. You know, how we acted, how the grades that we got. Like we were focused on that, just trying to move forward. And you know, it really wasn't like. Once again, like you had to be an athlete just to get out of here or anything like that. Right. It was just like go get your education.
Yeah, let's just do our job.
Yeah. What about like a you know, obviously here at Shawn Dad's we are faith based and we believe that Christ being the center of families is what makes families work. Yeah. What type of role did faith play in kind of your upbringing with your mom?
Man, well. Once again, like Merrill said, so we grew up in the church. I mean, and I'm saying like the church, like so our church, our church had the organ player, the piano player, the drum set. It was very and we went in and like I mean like we didn't really follow pro football a lot as a kid because like we went in for church on Sunday and didn't come out
at midnight.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the Bengals were well done playing by the time that
they'd already lost their game.
Oh, you know what I'm saying? So it played a strong part, you know, like that she, you know, that's how she, you know, she raised us. So she was a heavy set, strong-fisted black woman, you know what I mean, trying to raise two knucklehead boys, right? So she wasn't playing, you know what I mean? Like there was no we talk about it as I raise my kids now, and even like for Bro and his, like like I mean, just so many rules, you know what I mean? Like they're getting to the age now, like where they're gonna be older, and we're starting about like, curfews and stuff like that. Oh yeah, wasn't no missing curfew, and, you know what I mean? Yeah, no negotiation.
Snap you right
oh my god, yeah, I mean, like, it was a standing rule. Like if anybody even if you wanted to go spend the night at a friend's house, this is back when you had to know the parents. You know, you had to, you had to know them, meet the boy, and then it was always the day before was her rule. You know, like don't run up on me right now.
Oh, man, I love that. I need to have her on this.
Can I go? You know what I mean? Can I go right now? You know, she's like, you're not gonna make me uncomfortable. We're not going to, like, you know, if we've talked to them, we've been there, we make plans. You're not gonna put their parents in a bad situation.
A wise woman.
I mean, it was just a lot of stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like so she, like I said, she just grew us up, just going and believers and you know, just always challenged with that. Yeah. Always challenged.
And that's just good, solid stuff. I think her end game, if she could have said it to you, was, I just want you boys to take care of yourself and be able to be responsible for yourself, you know, and you're going to do that in a way that respects others, you know.
Exactly right.
And so that kind of leads us into a little bit about just like, you know, so you graduated high school, you went to Notre Dame, all right? You didn't play Notre Dame football, so what'd you do at Notre Dame?
Yeah, it's funny you mention that. So I spent all my years, I did basketball, baseball, and band while I was at Boone County. And band for them was competitive, and, you know, we did the whole travel thing through that. And then so when I finished, I just thought that I was through, and then I, you know, got a letter from the university and just said, hey, congratulations on being accepted. Have you ever thought about marching in the band here? And I was like,
from Notre Dame.
From Notre Dame, okay. Yeah. And I was like, actually, I hadn't, but you know what I mean, like, you know, what this gonna look like. So, you know, once again, nobody at the time, nobody at the school had ever gone, you know what I mean, from Boone County High School to University of Notre Dame.
Yeah. Wow.
So I was first to do that, and then I hadn't even been to a game. You know what I mean? I hadn't been up there. I mean, maybe one collegiate. I think I'd been to one pro game, seen our beloved Bengals, and then maybe one college. I'm thinking if I went over to see UC or maybe down to UK, maybe. You know what I mean? So yeah, no experience of that. So then all of a sudden went up there, tried out. and then made it, and then like it was just crazy, like just the level of what marching band was like, and at big time. I mean, like, so my first trip, I get up there on campus, and we go play Northwestern at Soldier Field in Chicago.
Holy cow!
Wow. I mean, like, so my first,
you got history all over.
I mean, yeah. So my first marching band ever, at Notre Dame, was we got on a bus. They gave us, like a little per diem and a little lunch, and we headed to Soldier Field. Wow. And then the next week we came back, and we did all the fanfare and hoopla for Notre Dame during the week.
Yeah.
And then we came back, and that's back when we played Michigan all the time. So Michigan came there. That was my first home game, and then my brother was being recruited, so he got to be on the sideline as well. You know what I mean? Like,
man.
So it was insane, right?
Yeah.
Like, so then I spent the next, 4 years just doing it. It was awesome. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Yeah. And so the idea that you even applied to Notre Dame, what was that part of your goal, or was that where did the application process come from? Did a counselor at school grab you and say you should apply here, or what?
No. And just randomly, I had received a letter in the mail, and I'm trying to think of how I even, maybe some other nerd academic programs or something. I was a part of, because I did all that stuff. Once again, mom had us pushing on that level, so I did all the AP classes and all that kind of stuff, and honestly, I got a letter in the mail, just said, hey, have you ever considered coming here, send us some ACT scores, and if you'd be ever interested. And I mean, I remember getting the letter, and then of Notre Dame, but I didn't know where it was. So I mean, back then, I actually got with mom. We broke open the map and was just like, where in the world is
South Bend?
You know what I mean? You're like, you know what I mean? Because people say, where's Notre Dame? They go Notre Dame. You're like, well, that doesn't help me.
Right.
Like, and they go Indiana. Okay, Indiana. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then you go South Bend. Okay. Then and then I found it was just up 74 and then up 31, and you're in there. So just from there, they sent me some stuff, and then I sent them off. They said, hey, looks good. They're like, why don't you come up here for a visit? And I was like, okay.
Yeah,
that's really getting real.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So you graduate out of Notre Dame. Yeah. You start into your professional career, your professional world. So where are you at? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What's your professional world?
So I've bounced around a couple of different things, but right now, so I work with a company called Centennial Executive Search and Talent Strategy. So we're in Cincinnati, down in off Kenwood Road, and we're now in this old Wiedemann mansion in Newport. So we're just a couple blocks away from the levee. And long and short, we just do executive recruiting. So as our clients, our companies, so as a company has a need that's a VP level, director, or C-suite, then they contact us, because many people are very, very good at doing their job, whatever it is, but not necessarily hiring the right person to help them, further their company and stuff. So, so we step in and help them manage that. And then everything that kind of goes along with that, whether it be like a little bit of team building or, just help making sure that person stays in that job.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. So, you have your two kids, all right, and your wife. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the family for a second, okay?
Yeah.
So what are you good at as a dad that your wife would agree with you on? Okay, all right.
I might listen to this too.
I love how you put that caveat
in
there.
Right. Because in other words, what's your role?
That's right. No, that's funny. So in our household, so my background is in math. So when it comes to the homework, so I handle all of the math stuff, all this crazy new math and why they do it like this and all that kind of stuff. So for me, I can usually work that out. Now, any of the projects and all the pretty stuff you got to put together, that is 100% her.
Yeah.
She's, they have to get ready because they have to do a display, and it's whatever night. And they got
go talk to mama.
Hey, mama, she's got she'll get the poster board, and she's gonna decorate like this. Yeah. So so I handle that part, and then of course, so I handle more of the discipline. In the household, and it's funny because. And it's been like that just because of how our mom raised us, what I mean? So she, like I said, there wasn't no getting away from, if you were in trouble, you were in trouble.
Yeah.
So then, just that idea of we're, as dads too, we're the head of the household, right? Not lording it over my wife by any means, but there's a standard, and there's got to be respect in the home. So and I'm your dad, before I'm just your friend or your buddy.
Yeah.
And so she always would wonder how in the world, because I come in and we we lay down the law or whatever happened, or they be in trouble or however we handled it. Then all of a sudden afterwards, they still want to come and curl up on the couch with me. It's like, what? How does that? You know what I mean? I'm like, because like to a certain extent, now kids they want that. You know what I mean? Like and obviously they have to have that. We just learned a long time ago, like that funnel has to be reversed. You know what I mean? Like sometimes when the kids are young, you got babies, and like the thought is like, just let them do everything,
right? And
then and I don't want them to be upset, especially if there's one kid there. And I don't know, we just found it just leads to a very, very wrong dynamic by the time they get older, because now they've had so much freedom, and then now you're trying to rein that back, and now kids are telling you what to do. You know what I mean? So all of a sudden they're like, like, I'm leaving. Go outside, and then it turns into like, well, where are you going, or tell me where to go. And they slam the door and they gone. Maybe they answer their phone, maybe they don't. That kind of stuff. So we took it from the beginning. Like, even if you were just doing the simplest thing, like you better put that in a question. Like, can I go to so and so? Like, man, we know. Of course we know Jeff and them, but like, let's get like this, because you just never know when that's gonna be. Like, we got to make sure that we have that control. So now once you have shown that you're absolutely fully capable, absolutely. What I mean? Like now let's talk about the thing that you want to do. But we just tried to set that pack in order right from the beginning.
Yeah, so it sounds like you and your wife work to be on the same page.
Oh my goodness!
You don't counter each other and go opposite. You're on that same page.
You have to be, because kids. It's funny. Like, they talk about like people just being born. Are they inherently good or inherently bad? I'm like, we all have that sin nature. Like that. Sure. And if you have kids, I'm like, just the fact that how they do, even just try to twist and things, what I mean? Just so we made it, we established it once again from the beginning that like, we always will just check with one another, what I mean? Like, like say, hey, can I have this candy bar or whatever, right? What'd your mother say? What I mean? Like, and even like from then, they'd be like, but I thought you was the dad. Like, okay, then see, so now you trying to get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I mean? You trying to get knocked out. Or like, hey, you know what I mean? But you got to go back and forth, because they know from the beginning, like, let me ask this one over here, but then let me go over here. Yeah. So then, and that's another thing where we even had to bring them together. We said, look here, this is how this is going to work. Yeah. Like, what I mean? Like, it ain't going to be no, if one says this, that's what it is. Ain't no going around, because because the problem is that like, you say yes, she already said no. Then all of a sudden, come around the corner, right? They eating the candy bar. They just and then all of a sudden, like, why'd you tell them that? Well, I didn't. They've already had 3. I didn't know. I just came in. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now you two got an issue, and they over here just they out of it. So we fought for that from the beginning, right? Like, just saying, like, stuff. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're gonna check, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like we're going to be able to be open to say, what'd your mom say? What'd your father say? We come together, like, I don't care. Okay, then fine. I'll make the decision, then yay or nay, or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's good stuff, man. We go down that road a lot, just with our talking, and mom and dads have to be aligned. And it's not to get mad and angry at the kid for his attempt at trying to pit one against the other. It speaks to his human nature. His human nature is, I want to get what I want, right? It's a selfish human nature. Absolutely. And so part of the instruction is just to say, you know what, there are bigger things in this world that I need to train you up for. And you getting your candy bar because you want it is not it, And so we're gonna teach the discipline part of that. Durran, we did talk at the beginning of the show there about some of the racial tensions, and I want to go down that road with you. I want to have some conversation, because my kids, I don't make them watch the news. You don't have to make your kid watch the news. The news is everywhere, right? And that my kids that I still have in the home they're very aware of the racial tensions, even the protests and the riots that are going on, the Black Lives Matter, the George Floyd, all of these different things, they hear it, okay? And I also have to remember that they take their lead off of mom and dad. So like if I watch a news program and I roll my eyes in the back of my head, they roll their eyes in the back of their head. That's right. Okay. When I taught at the school, when I was an elementary counselor, I knew who every parent who they were going to vote for, what president, because their kid would walk around with a Trump button or with an Obama button or whatever. Be like, I know what your parents are doing.
Yeah, definitely.
So we lead that stance.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So tell me how you handle and what your thoughts are, not just from a black man perspective, but as a father. What is your perspective? What do you teach in your home? Yeah. And even because I know part of your work is some diversity training.
Oh, yeah.
In your actual work.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So help us out a little bit.
Yeah. Great question. It just made me think of having through the years where I've been coaching youth football, and all of a sudden, to have a young kid that be 9 or 10 years old and want to make a comment about the wall being built or something. You're like, that is not from you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what in the world? But no. Yeah. So inside the home, because there's so much information that is out there and available, we actually just make sure that we just bring it forward and just talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, so make them unplug from, because especially I got 14 and 13, right? So they can easily just put in earphones and want to be locked away. So we just be intentional about, like, what is going on? Like, what do we see? What really makes sense to us based on what we're seeing, what we're hearing? How do we, when we can, how do we line it up with God's word on what really makes sense? Because you don't want to necessarily just come at it just from, 100% from a spin or from this particular area, but just like with so many things though, we do want to make our kids just knowledgeable about what's happening. So like even just race relations in general, right? So then I tell them like, look guys, like the way I grew up, and 95% of the people that I came across, no issue at all. You know what I mean? Like, no issue. So to want to sit here just even as a black man and just say, oh my goodness, I can't believe and down with what, I'm like, that's not my story. I said, and that's not y'all's story. You know what I mean? Like, so them being, mixed children. So for those who don't know out there that are listening, my wife has blonde hair and blue eyes, so they may not know that.
They do now.
They do now. So then in growing up kids there, so I don't want to raise them up and feel like they have to be militant in their belief either, right? Sure. So I say, okay, how are people treating you, and then how are we treating them? So as the different cases come out, then we just take the time. We say, okay, well, what are we seeing? What really did happen? Like, okay, like, if the guy, like, even though he had these kind of background, like, here was the crime, but does the punishment fit the crime? Like, what do we, let's try to analyze as many facts as we can. And just in no different as we would tell our kids of any basic stuff that goes with growing up. We try to, that's how we enter into race discussions also. So just as we say, like, don't take candy from strangers, right? Like, so some people are like, well, I don't want to mention anything because, like, that, like, if I don't mention race, then it's not an issue. Well, once again, same thing. Like, we still tell our kids about don't talk to strangers, Like, what do we do? I'm like, you didn't necessarily have that happen to you, but you got to bring it up. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you have to address it. So we look at it just the same. Like, okay, here's what's going on, and then here's the mindset that we want to have as we approach this, because not everybody is going to, we may not be as fortunate. Everybody here is going to know you and get along and feel, the way that they do. I mean, that's one reason why we chose to grow up in Boone County. Being from there, so many people that had great attitudes, great character, made my experience what it was. Same thing for my brother. And then, we know them all. So the teachers that are in the schools, people that I, that I went to school with. So, I know that if we had an issue, it's something that we could take care of, we could address, and without having to go through, any kind of extra rigmarole behind that. What I mean? Like, so I really wanted for them that if you don't get the part in the school play, or you don't get this, then we're going to know that this, like, maybe you weren't good enough. And we could leave it there, what I mean? Like, that it did not turn into
based on skin color or religion or anything.
Exactly right. That it's not based on that, and that just gets into obviously just having the people and like, if you really feel that the people that you're around, because like you were saying too, that unfortunately racism and the racial issues it's not hereditary.
Right.
You know what I mean? It is taught. So someone has to tell you from the beginning when you see the situation on the news or you see somebody like, yeah, they're nice here. It's fun to watch them do this, but don't ever let them in your home. Yeah. Or don't ever turn your back on, or don't do this. So like when those kind of things then people start, you know what I mean? They really start wondering and question, and you know what I mean? Like, so it wind up opening up the door, even then going to Notre Dame, so for me, from being 95, or I'll say 98% white at Boone County, so like the only African Americans there were like there were 4 of them there, and like I was related to 3 of them, right? You know what I mean? At Boone. So then, like, to go to Notre Dame, you know what I mean, which at the time was like 89% white Irish Catholic. I mean, like, so like if you weren't Catholic, they were like, and then if you were up there and you're like, you don't play football? Like, no. They're like,
I'm in the band.
Yeah, they're like, basketball? Like, they're like, then they're like, lacrosse, man? Or like, no. You know what I mean? So, I mean, for real, then you had to, and then it was almost to feel like almost like, what are you doing here? Yeah, I'm like, well, I mean, some people would be like, well, I actually kind of got an academic scholarship. They're like, what? And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I do marching band. Oh, okay, the band. I knew there had to be something out here. You're like, well, that's how we do.
Durran, we have a rule in our house, and I want to mention this because I think this goes into the upbringing of our kids. Mm-hmm. I don't care about the race at all. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the rule is it's the referee rule. Okay, and so my kids have played sports, and they are not permitted to come home and ever complain about the call the referee made. Okay, because there are times when referees make bad calls, right? I mean, it does happen. Absolutely. But a lot of times, those bad calls are in your favor. And I've never once seen somebody get a call in their favor and go over and shake the referee's hand and say, thanks for missing that strike call. Right. Thanks for missing that foul call. That's right. That's right. So it is not permissible in my house for my kid to come home and say, the referee sucked, that's why we lost. No. That is not permissible. Instead, it is, well, what was your position? What is your job? What is your responsibility? And I think it's so important. I don't care the race of your home. It is so important that we look at our kids, and after they go through all that dance about what was done wrong to them, to say, well, what are you going to do? What's your role? Because that's the most empowering thing we can do to our kids. To say, you know what? You can't control all these extrinsic factors. They're out there. And like you said, there are some racist people. There are some, but you know what? What are you going to do? And man, the gift, your mom raised you up to say, Durran, what are you going to do? You better make a good decision here, son. And that's so powerful. Because now I moved my kid into being a problem solver, victor, instead of a beaten down victim who's always getting caught up in the latest thing. And I do. It's easy to get caught in the wave, right? I've been at games before when the referee made a bad call and I got mad, but it's like, you know what? I just shut your mouth because by and large, the refs do a good job. By and large,
that's right. You can easily get swept up in there and just be like, oh yeah. Easily just going, man, this guy is the worst guy. He's done this and that. But, at the end of the day, that there's certain things that you could have done.
And because it just means that now, in order for me to play a good game, it's all rest on the shoulders of the referee. And that takes the control away from me. And I think as parents, as a dad, I do not want my kid to get into that way of thinking. Again, if there's a bad call, let's deal with the individual call and a private opportunity to actually get it changed versus a public beat down, right? Let's work to deal. Just like you said, there are some things that are wrong. So it's a strange time that we're in, and I think a lot of times people just want to scream and yell because we feel entitled to be able to do that. But it's not always productive.
Right.
No.
How could we do it better? And I get a kick out of your mom. I'm gonna have to have her on.
Come on, man, definitely. She's a hoot, man. She's crazy.
But she's just strong. She's strong, and she just always, she must have looked at you guys and said, "No, what's your part?"
Yeah.
What's your part? What are you going to do?
Yeah. And Durran, you had made reference to this, and I wanted to come back to it. Obviously, when it comes to these race relations and everything that is going on in our world, obviously you are a black man, but I think you would agree above that you are a follower of Christ.
Yeah.
And how does having those conversations with your kids about race relations, but also knowing that above all else, like Jesus is who we follow.
Yeah.
Like how do you tie those two in together? Because I think that's could be a really good takeaway for any of the dads listening out there that these conversations are very hard to have, but they are necessary conversations we have, but the reason they're necessary is because we know that Jesus not that he doesn't see black and white, but that he sees his children, and
right.
he sees us, and he loves us for who we are.
Yeah.
And I think you can definitely touch on that.
Yeah. So like once again, just letting everybody know that inside of race relations, especially like when you know Jesus and you know that like what he means to you and what he's done for you, and be able to tie yourself around other people, that it's once again there's just a few people out there that are ruining it on the both sides. So then,
sure.
so you know what I mean. So when you're able to tap into other believers, and then as you're continuing to grow in whatever it is, so in your education or in your sports, and then you're able to get yourself around other good people, then we can continue to move forward. So kind of like we were saying there, like if people aren't teaching that hatred and stuff from the beginning, so you have the love of Christ, allowing that to flow in you, and then you're teaching that to your kids. So now we can move forward on that, knowing that there is a bigger goal. That there's a greater goal that we're all trying to ascend to. So like that's why you don't treat that person like that. Like you don't look down on them. I think we even talked about before that, like a challenge that I've had to even to Heather's father. And some other people that have come across where, whether the thought of like, interracial dating and then marriage and stuff, I said, well, if you could find in God's word and you could convince me that, that being of the same color automatically equated that you would not end in divorce, that it would not end in adultery, that you would have, your marriage would stay together forever, then fine. You know what I mean? Like, then I'll leave your daughter alone, or I'll tell this couple not to be there. But like, as long as that's not the case, then like no one would ever say that they would want, just for the sake of being in the same race, that obviously if they treated, and especially having daughters here, that this person treated your daughter horribly, like based on just to have the same color,
right?
You know what I mean? And if you could have someone that you knew was a believer and was founded on and was going to lift up your daughter and elevate her, show her as spotless and blameless, you're like, that's what I
don't care. I don't care.
You know what I'm saying? Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so I'm not gonna stop you, son or daughter, from talking to somebody just because of the color of their skin. But if they're not following these criteria here, you know what I mean? Like the same reason that so whether you be that your kid goes to church or they go to Wednesday night, you know what I mean? You study, so like if this person doesn't fulfill these things, now we're gonna have now we got a bigger issue there.
Now we got an issue.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like, so
that's a great point.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like so we wanted to, we can continue to try to put it up against that, you know what I mean? And as they continue to do their own walk, so what kind of person are you? That then now we know that like if someone does have an issue, that it's solely something, it's their issue, you know what I mean? Like that you're continuing to walk your walk as best as you can, and that's the kind of family that we're gonna have, and we're gonna move forward that way.
Yeah, because you can't control other people. You can't control what they think and how they react. But we can control. We talk about all the time. Just not falling into that where then you start to play a blame game, just like you blame the ref. Like you can't control what other people do, but we can control our actions and what we say and how we act.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Well, Durran, we're going to wrap it up here, and I just appreciate you so much, your willingness to come in to share the story of what it is to be Shawn's brother.
That's right. That's right.
And just have some fun. But also, I just love the idea that this is the kind of conversation that has to happen. That it sat around this table. Yeah. There's three gentlemen around this table, and I have not seen color at all here. I've seen three men trying to get it done, and just. You know what? We're goofy at times, we're strong at times, we're weak at times, but the idea that we're just trying to get it done. And Kyle, you hit the nail on the head. We're followers of Christ. So what are we doing to make it look like we are?
Yeah.
No matter the color of our skin.
Because we have to look different than the world.
We have to look different.
I mean, and that's that. We should be that way. None of us here are going to apologize for the race that we are. But I stand firm in the fact that I love Jesus. You guys are my brothers in Christ. I don't care what color you are. If you love Jesus and you're a follower in Christ, we should look different. Our relationship, the way we talk to one another, it should look different.
That's right.
And if I say I'm a follower of Christ, and then I put up a filter that says, "Oh, that's a black man, I'm not going to associate with him," then I'm not really a follower of Christ.
Then we have to check and say, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Like,
because Jesus, he didn't die for just white man or just a black man or just he died for all.
That's right. Exactly right.
Excellent stuff. Durran, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds. What's the last message, if there's any, that you want to leave these strong dads with?
Hey,
Come on, man. Leave them with a challenge.
Thump
them hard. They need it.
I would say for all the strong dads out there, if you haven't had the discussion, one thing that I would love to see for those that, even if you're like, well, who am I? I just do this job. I just do X, right? And if you're not in a position of change, it's just to have the discussion in your home and just know that, look, that you love your kids, and that, if someone is of a different race, that you don't have to hate them because of it. And then let's just try to look at their perspective. And then how do you handle that inside your circles? Yeah. You know what I mean? So the people that are with you, do we continue to let that kind of, crazy joke that we know that isn't right? Does it go on? Do your kids see that? Because what does that push forward as we're trying to move the strong dad message, and as a mentor to your young kids? Like, how does that push forward if you allow that to go? So just know that that there's great men out there, and that if you want to put that message forward, that just be strong.
Yeah,
be strong.
I love it, man. That's good stuff. All right, so hey, we want to thank our sponsors that get behind us, Crimer's Beer House and Mansfield Insurance. We want to thank those guys for the work that they do in sponsoring the Strong Dads podcast. I also want to just say that, if there's any of you guys out there, and I know some of you wives actually listen too, so if you got a guy that you want to get this information to, share this with them. And guys, if there's something, an issue that you're challenged with, please reach out to me. You can get me at hutch@rocksolidfamilies.org, or you can call the office at 812-576-7625. We appreciate all of the support. This is Rock Solid Families, and we're a nonprofit ministry. And so if we want, as I've said many times on the Rock Solid radio show that I do with my wife, if you believe this is a good message, then move it, then share it, then get it out. Because if we don't get these kind of talks out, if we don't get these messages out, there will be another message that gets out. Okay, right. So we are not without message. There's a message. And so if you want to start to change the narrative or have some influence, please share these messages, this kind of messages. And Strong Dads wants to be part of that. So thank you for listening. Kyle, what do you got, brother?
Durran, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate having a conversation. It's always a good time having good conversations. So
appreciate it.
Definitely go out there and be some strong dads.
Hey, this is Merle Hutchinson from Strong Dads. Strong Dads wants to thank Mansfield Insurance Agency in Bright, Indiana for sponsoring today's Strong Dads podcast. Established in 1981, the Mansfield Insurance Agency has been dedicated to the individuals and businesses in Bright, Indiana, serving clients throughout Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.